30 of the world's best poker minds took up the challenge of the super high roller. Now, only 8 remain. 5 will be paid, but only 1 will reign supreme. Can Kid Poker beat his runner-up spot from last year?
I was proud of my result, and, you know, when I got knocked out, I just couldn't wait to do it again next year.
Umberto Brenes is our other repeat finalist. He'll be hoping to do more than just min cash this time. Can Galen Hall add super high roller silverware to his main event title?
Last year I won the PCA main event, and it certainly gives me a lot of confidence, you know, playing in such a tough field.
6 of the 8 seats at the final table are filled by North American superstars, with a 50-50 split between the US and Canada. Will it be the Stars and Stripes or the Maple Leaf on the podium?
I'm pretty confident Canada can win it. We just don't know who yet.
Neither if Swedish online sensation Victor Isildur Blom has anything to do with it. Can he make his much anticipated live tournament breakthrough here in the Bahamas? PokerStars.com Caribbean Adventure is a poker festival like no other. And there's no better way to get things started than the star-studded Super High Roller. 30 of poker's finest stumped up $100,000, and with 2 re-entries, the prize pool reached over $3 million. One of our final 8 will walk away with a first prize of more than $1.25 million. Last time at the PCA Super High Roller, 5 more poker heavyweights left the ring disappointed.
All right, good luck, kids.
Daniel Negreanu kept his dream alive of upgrading last year's silver to gold.
I'm happy for me.
Victor Blom gave nothing away as he applied maximum pressure.
Oh, and Victor's hiding today.
But it was Galen Hall who stole the show late in the day, robbing Isaac Haxton of the chip lead and sending him to the rail after he'd been such a dominant force throughout. A huge turn of events, leaving Galen very much in the driving seat. Well, let's meet all our finalists. The reigning PCA main event champion Galen Hall comes in as chip leader. He has more than $1.7 million. Chasing him is the 2010 World Series of Poker main event winner, Jonathan Duhamel. The Canadian has just over $1.3 million in chips. Hoping to improve on a second place finish on this stage last year is fellow Canadian Daniel Negreanu. He starts the day 3rd in chips with just under $1.3 million. Next up is the young, hyper-aggressive Swede, Victor Blom. He has just under $1.2 million. And he's closely followed by Dan Shack in 5th, who's also just shy of the $1.2 million chip mark. First of the below-average stacks belongs to Scott Seaver. The American has 39 big blinds, 630,000 in chips. Mike McDonald is the youngest ever EPT champion. He's sitting in 7th with a stack of 346,000. And bringing up the rear is Umberto Brenes. He has a lot of work to do. He's playing just 21 big blinds. He has 4% of the chips in play. No surprise that a big crowd has gathered in the Atlantis Poker Room for the first final table of the 2012 PCA, a star-studded final table in this Super High Roller event.
A win here will secure Hall's place in the PCA Hymn of Fame. Victor's been his own worst enemy so far in the live scene, that and Bedhead.
Let's play poker.
God, live poker is so exciting.
You like it better than online, or are you kidding?
I'm kidding.
That was a level?
Yeah.
You guys always leveling me. Damn it. I fall for everyone.
A level is something not funny enough to be a joke, but also not clever enough to be a prank. Kind of like most of what I say.
The blinds are 8 and 16,000 with a 2K ante. Action folded around to Mike McDonald, who picks up aces.
Hello, Rockets!
No surprise that Mike is raising. Makes it 36,000. Dan Shack in the cutoff has 7-5 of spades.
Timex very interested in what Dan's gonna do. Dan's reaching for chips, so my guess is that he's not gonna flat with 7-5 suited with 3 players stacked behind.
He re-raises. It's a 3-bet to 111,000. Victor Blom on the button. Will fold. Galen Hall raising an eyebrow in the small blind. He mucks, and Umberto gives up the big. So back on Mike.
All in.
He shoves.
All in.
Now that might look like a bad 3-bet from Dan, but other than the fact that he made it a little too big, I like where his head's at. Now when Timex puts in the 4th bet, it really does look like he has a hand.
I have a question, Mike. Did you pack that suit assuming you were going to make a final table, or you just always have one with you?
Me? I went with me maybe half the time.
I used to do that back when I was young. I had a final table outfit that I would always bring, just in case.
Now his whole wardrobe is final table outfits. All the designer jeans you can handle.
Daniel currently 3rd in chips behind Jonathan Duhamel and chip leader Galen Hall. Action folded around to Dan Shack. King 5 of spades. We'll muck that. Victor Blom, Queen 3. He'll pass.
So solid.
Jacks for the chip leader.
You folded like 5 hands in a row, I think.
Yeah.
You okay?
I quit bluffing.
You have a fever?
Yeah, I'm quite nervous.
Raise 44,000.
Somehow I doubt that. Victor's played single pots that are bigger than the first place money here.
44,000 is the size of Galen Hall's raise from the cutoff. Umberto has ace-8 on the button.
He's played very tight and solid this entire tournament. He's mostly stayed away from hands like this one. Right now he's got around 15 big blinds.
That means he's raising.
Right there is Umberto's Nino.
And it's an all-in for 303,000. Siva and Negreanu fold the blinds, and Galen snap calls.
Come on. Yeah. Ace.
How's the tongue on the nose, by the way? See the mouth
Ace.
on the bottom?
He raised in this position.
The tongue is up by the nose.
Come on. Ace is coming. You see?
Just to clarify,
Okay.
Umberto needs an ace.
No problem?
Just start celebrating.
No problem.
Start running around celebrating now. I busted Umberto before the cards.
This is impossible here in Umberto. Fish. Easy game, my friend.
Let's see the flop.
Easy. You see this? You see this? Ace.
I don't see an ace.
Oh, no.
Somehow Umberto's shark gag has gone from charming to intolerable and back to charming again. How did he do that?
Ace. Ace. Oh, no.
He's loving it. Maybe because they know he's likely to be out of here.
Big problem.
3 outs
Come
for
on,
Umberto.
good luck, my friends. Not yet, not yet. Yoo-hoo. Vamos. Oh, hey. Okay, my friend. I don't have.
Umberto Reyes finishes in 8th place at the PCA Super High Roller final table.
Come on.
Last year he made the final in cash. This year he goes away with nothing.
Can I get a translation on that?
Remember, you can tweet us here at the EPT and join in the conversation using the hashtag PCA. Looks like Umberto wants to join the audience and watch this final table play out as Galen Hall consolidates his chip lead.
Last year, I won the PCA main event, so it's pretty fun to come back here and walk through the halls, remembering what happened on that stage last year.
Galen Hall, the champion of the 2011 PCA main event.
My year since winning the PCA has been pretty awesome. In September, I started business school at Stanford and haven't played until just like a couple days in December to get warmed up for the super high roller.
Careful, I'm very sensitive to criticism.
I never really debated my decision to take a leave from poker and go to Stanford Business School.
Dodged a bullet there.
It's such a perfect fit for what I want to do, and the culture is such a perfect fit. There's so many people there from really diverse backgrounds and industries, and the one thing they have in common is everybody's the best at what they do. Hopefully after a couple years there, I can really figure out what it is that I'm passionate about for the next phase of my life. I'm definitely gonna play poker for the rest of my life. I love poker, but I don't want that to be all that I do. So, you know, right now I'm pretty comfortable with poker taking a back seat because I can play poker anytime, but I have this opportunity at school that's pretty much once in a lifetime.
I wonder if Galen will still have the same feelings about wanting to have a job after he has to write his first intra-office memo.
We're one step closer to the money with the top 5 players in this tournament getting paid. Blinds are up, 10,000 and 20,000 with a 3K ante. Action on Mike McDonald. King Jack off. It's been folded to him on the button. And Mike's raising to 44,000. And Shaq has Queen 7 in the small.
Not getting cute this time.
Victor Blom has Ace Jack in the big blind.
How much did you start down with? Like 450.
Blom's got McDonald dominated. Kid's got an intense gaze.
There's the re-raise from Victor. To the delight of his railing crew, he makes it 126,000.
Victor's got an insane rep, so when he's 3-betting here, he's doing it for value.
On.
Mike shoves.
All in.
Now, unless Victor's picked up some kind of crazy tell, I assume he's gonna call.
He calls.
Mike was in a tough spot. He probably could have called, but shoving's perfectly fine too, but only because they're not on the bubble yet and ICM isn't as much of a factor.
So McDonald is at risk. And he's a 3-1 underdog.
I'm good at these.
You're really good at these.
But there's a king.
Mike McDonald taking it to the streets.
Timex supporters. Isildur supporters.
Running jacks.
McDonald now an 86% favourite to double up. Make that a 93% favourite. He only has to fade an ace on the river, and he will double up to 925,000.
And Victor will take a huge hit to his stack.
The river card. It's an ace!
Oh, brutal river for Mike McDonald.
And that will send Mike McDonald to the rail in 7th place.
I swear, Victor, I felt it coming. I really
And Victor
did.
Blom is smiling. He is a human being.
A tough beat for Timex, but to be fair, he did get his money in behind. And just like that, we are down to 6, and that means we have reached the bubble. Blom now second in chips and on course to cash here in the Bahamas. Welcome back to Atlantis for the 2012 PCA Super High Roller. Before the break, Mike McDonald crashed out, leaving us with our final 6 and a money bubble worth over $250,000. After nearly 3 days of high-intensity poker, no one wants to walk away as the bubble boy. Kid Poker is in a great position to make the money for the 2nd year running, but with a below-average stack, will he go heads up again?
I'm looking forward to getting that one spot ahead of last year. I thought I played really well in the high roller as well as the other ones throughout the year, and I really like those. And of course, the main event is something that I'd like to, reach the final table at. The very first one on the boat, I came 3rd to Gus Hansen and Hoyt Corkins, and I haven't had a chance to get back to that final table. I think when you have a good result in a tournament, it makes you feel like, you know what, I got these figured out. You come in with a little bit more confidence, and it almost feels a little bit easier to, mentally to feel like, oh, you know what, I do belong there. Because it's easy to look around the room and go, okay, all these guys are amazing, so why do I deserve to be at the final table? And you know what, you remind yourself, you're like, because I don't suck either, and I belong there because I've got a little bit of game myself. I got things going on in my head that if people knew, oh my God, I gotta keep it in here.
It's crazy and crazy, yeah.
just bleh. Woo! I make myself laugh. That's good.
Daniel shares some of that stuff with me. It's definitely bleh and a little whoop and a little huh.
So don't forget, if you make the top 5, you're guaranteed at least $250,000. The next man out will receive nothing. Scott Seaver has jacks under the gun. He's raising to 40,000.
Scott's a pretty active player, so it's entirely possible Daniel will 3-bet him with this pair.
Negreanu could get into a lot of trouble with these 7s.
There's definitely an argument against 3-betting, especially since Scott did raise under the gun and 7s played just fine after the flop.
Well, Daniel has re-raised to 86,000. Duhamel has folded King Jack. Dan Shaq has given up the button. Victor Blom passes in the small blind. Galen Hall has kings.
Well, this puts a whole new paint job on things. With his image, Galen's definitely going to want to put in a 4th bet.
There it is, a raise to 215,000.
Scott's in a really tough spot. I'd say 10s are an easy fold, queens are an easy shove, jacks are right in the middle. Against Galen, though, jacks probably are a shove.
He does shove. Daniel folds.
I mean, yeah.
And Galen immediately calls.
I was in third. I had a pair.
I mean, I know you're super, like, I'm like snap folding 10s there.
So now I get the needle that I should fold.
Sorry.
Also.
No, I'm just saying it sucks. I'm definitely, for what it's worth, rooting for chop.
Chop?
Yeah.
Not very likely, Galen. You got your money in good. Just own it.
There's an 86% chance we lose Scott Seaver.
Oh, shit, I would have won.
He had something.
I flopped the set. Yeah.
You folded.
Scott Seaver looks absolutely sick, and I just realized it's because he's on a disgusting bubble.
Plus, Jonathan Duhamel folded a jack, so Scott Seaver has one out, just a 2% chance of survival. He's gone. He's the bubble boy. Everyone else now guaranteed at least $250,000.
I meant it, by the way, when I said I was rooting for you because I believed you.
Oh, yeah, that's a good call. Yeah, the call the raise and the raise.
Good luck, dude. Thanks, man.
So Scott Seaver walks away in 6th place with nothing, not even a pair of socks. Speaking of nothing, I wouldn't expect an exit interview. I haven't seen a bubble this big since the Biodome.
Galen Hall extends his chip lead. He now has close to 3 million chips. He's playing a lot of pots, but his 3-bet frequency is below the table average.
It is important to keep in mind, however, that this is based on a small sample size. Must be a good feeling for Daniel to know he's walking with at least 150K profit. Not quite the same feeling for Jonathan, who re-entered, so at the moment he's only clearing 50K. Still, I'm sure he's fine with it.
5 players remain. The 2 Canadians bringing up the rear at the moment. Negreanu, the shortest stack, but not short by any means. He's playing 38 big blinds. 12-24 now.
9, 1.1, 1.8 something, 1.3 something, and the rest.
Who's got 1.1? Oh, I thought he had more. And you have what?
About 1.9.
And he has 1.3?
3 something.
Oh, we're all close. And Galen has the rest.
Yeah.
Victor gets us started with a raise to 52,000. 9-10 offsuit. King 10 suited for Daniel.
This is a hand that you might want to 3-bet while out of position.
Or you can call. A7 of diamonds for Jonathan Duhamel.
Jonathan's getting like 7-1.
He calls as well.
I'm going to check in the dark without even looking at the cards. I'm not even going to look at the cards, and I'm going to check. It's a new move in 2012. I'm developing.
Next I heard he's going to develop the check raise.
Ace, King 9 flop. Duhamel was in front pre-flop. He's still in front. He's been checked to the razor. Victor has a pair of 9s. He continues for 86,000.
Everyone's caught a different piece of this board. All of them would have the best hands some of the time.
Daniel calls with his kings. And Jonathan calls with his aces.
As I suspected, each of these guys thinks he might have the best hand.
An ace on the turn gives Duhamel trips.
And he's got the others drawing dead. He might not be in love with this hand given the action.
Both Daniel and Jonathan check a second time. Victor checks behind. 6 of diamonds on the river.
Daniel may think he has the best hand now.
That's 100,000.
I actually think this is a blocker bet, trying to set his own showdown price so he doesn't have to call a huge bluff from one of these guys.
Jonathan calls.
Victor can't possibly think he's good.
You have a king.
A7.
The good news is the blocker bet worked. The bad news is your hand's no good.
So Jonathan Duhamel adds 388,000 chips to his stack. And he spotted a couple of friends in the crowd. Nacho Barbero and Vanessa Selbst.
You think they're here rooting for him, but actually they're just waiting for him to go on the water slides.
By the way, Daniel Negreanu did about 30% of his chips in that hand. Whereas Jonathan is now playing near enough an average stack. So Dan Shack posts the small blind. Victor Blonde posts the big blind. Galen Hall will be first to speak. And the chip leader looks down at jacks.
Pocket jacks are going around like a bad internet meme.
Raise 55.
Galen makes it 55,000. Negreanu folds, as does Duhamel. Dan Shack in the small blind has ace king.
Looks like we're gonna have a 3-bet coming.
Dan Shack starts the hand with 1.9 million. Looks like it's going to be a healthy re-raise. A 3-bet to 255,000.
This 3-bet isn't big, it's huge.
Victor Blom folds. It's back on Galen.
You can see why Galen's taking a moment. Another thing Dan's got going for him is that people always tend to believe the older guys have it. Galen's likely thinking Dan will have ace-king a lot of the time, and also a decent amount of the time he'll have better.
Show you if you show me.
He folds the jacks.
It was a race.
Can't fault the guy for not wanting to flip for 4 million in chips.
I was right, though.
Yeah.
So you raised, he 3-bet, and he went all in?
Oh, man, that would have been a crazy one.
I raised, he 3-bet, and I folded.
Oh, you just folded to a 3-bet?
I made it a big one.
Yeah, a big one.
Dan Shack is a big-time commodities trader, so he only knows how to deal in big numbers.
He also plays high-stakes poker, and last year he finished second to Vanessa Selpst at the Mohegan Sun leg of the NAPT. He's also won a 100K buy-in event for more than $1 million.
I've been a commodities trader for many years. It takes pretty much the same skills, and you have the same up and downs that poker does, so most people would probably tell me I'm crazy because a hobby's supposed to be something outside of your daily work. So I essentially extend my work into my hobby, which sometimes I question, but I'm going to continue to pursue it. If I win, I always donate at least 10% to charity because there are a lot of charitable things going on in poker, and I'd like to win for myself, but also for the sake of the charities I support.
Were some of those smoking hot models I just saw included in the charities you support? Because I'm not exactly sure they're tax deductible.
Dan Shack currently second in chips behind Galen Hall. Duhamel in third, Blom in fourth. Negreanu still the tournament short stack. Pocket eights for Victor.
Raise.
He raises. Makes it 52,000. Ace-9 on the button for Galen Hall.
Daniel, how much do you have?
I don't know.
Tempting spot for ace-9.
Galen lets it go.
Oh, did he fold?
Daniel has ace-king.
Get your running shoes on.
And he moves all in for just under 690,000. Duhamel will fold.
How much is that? 700.
Close to that. That's 687.
Victor doesn't have to call at 2-8s, but Daniel's re-steal range will have opened up considerably.
He called, right?
Yeah.
Victor does make the call. And we're flipping.
I figured he had a pair when you were like, okay, I need an ace.
Or a king.
Prettiest card in the deck.
Yeah, I got the prettiest card again.
Yeah, but Victor's friends are the prettiest.
I think I made a good play, though. I'm happy to get it in with ace-king, because it's a good hand.
The flop is queen, queen,
Oh,
7.
how about a 9 and a 9?
That's pretty unlikely.
Yes, I realize.
I had the ace and the 9s.
Oh, you had an ace and a 9?
Yeah.
Okay,
Or,
10
sorry,
and
I
a 10.
shouldn't say that.
That's all right.
Ruins the sweat a little bit.
How about
No.
a jack and a jack?
That's fine, too. Oh, that was almost an 8. Almost did it.
Daniel needs an ace or a king on the river. Looking to keep the dream alive of going one better than last year and winning the PCA Super High Roller. He doesn't get there.
8, too. All right. Good luck, man.
Not many people can finish 5th in this event and have it be worse than last year.
How can I ever win a flip against you? Is it even possible? All right, good luck, man.
I was really hoping I could not give heads up against you because you know all my...
Oh, I watched every hand last year, yeah.
After that coup, Victor is closing in on chip leader Galen Hall. And last year's runner-up exits in 5th place, collecting just over $250,000. Another great result for one of the best in the game. If you want to play in an EPT event, go to PokerStars.com. Qualifiers every day. Welcome back to the Atlantis Resort for the PokerStars.com Caribbean Adventure Super High Roller Final. We're down to 4. Daniel Negreanu, the latest casualty. Well, Galen Hall remains in the driving seat. Now, earlier on, we saw him make a questionable laydown against Dan Shack.
Questionable indeed, James. The ball had just burst, and the reigning PCA main event champion woke up with pocket jacks under the gun. He made a 2.3x open. Action folded around to Dan Shack, who was the other big stack at the table. Shack made a large 10 big blind 3-bet, leaving Hall with a tournament-changing decision.
Let's see what some of Galen's peers would do in this spot.
From that situation, I've learned that probably these are the situations where you probably can flat call the raiser. On one side, you can avoid coin flip situations. On the other, basically, you can kind of create some kind of trap with your hand. According to my experience, I would just call the re-raise.
This is a really tough spot. Dan Shack is the tightest player at the table, and Galen is a very aggressive player. Jacks rates to be at the top of his range, and Dan Shack is just not re-raising with a wide range of hands. So at the end of the day, it's probably going to be, ace, king, queens, kings, and aces, and against that range, Jacks just isn't that good a hand. I think considering the stack sizes, considering his opponent, it's a good spot for a fold.
Any hand can be tricky in poker, you just want to play situations as best as you can. And sometimes I feel more comfortable like, 6-7 suited, smaller pairs, and 2 jacks. It's a lot of times where I fold the jacks a lot, and it's a lot of times I re-raise or 4-bet shove. It's just playing the situations out, and you just want to play them as best as you can.
Show you if you show me.
It was a race.
I'm not that surprised that Galen Hall has been able to fold that hand. I remember that last year in the main event, he made an incredible laydown. He had a straight against full house, something like that.
Good fold, Galen. Good fold.
Thanks, guys.
He has been able to win the trophy because of that fold.
Oh man, that would have been a crazy one.
What would you do, Joe?
I would choose the one that looks like the cup of a carpenter.
You have chosen wisely. So Daniel Negreanu got a min cash in this event. 4 players remain competing for first prize of more than $1.25 million. Jack 6 under the gun for Jonathan Duhamel. Former world champion makes it 55,000. Dan Shack has King 6 on the button. He mucks. Victor Blom has Ace Queen suited.
You would usually expect a 3-bet here from a player out of position.
Victor calls.
Very sneaky. This is Victor's way of pre-flop trapping.
Galen Hall gives up the big blind. We go heads up to the flop. Jack 5-7 with 2 hearts.
Action flop. Victor's checking to the original raiser. 2 overs and a flush draw is usually a time when you want to get more money in.
Jonathan bets his top pair. We can see that with those 2 overs and that flush draw, Victor is a statistical favorite.
Of course he's not folding. He could even raise for value against Jonathan's range.
He does raise, makes it 215,000.
If he knows Jonathan's never folding a pair, a straight draw, or a smaller flush draw, then he's way ahead of Jonathan's range. Nut flush draws are good, okay?
Jonathan is gonna re-raise. Makes it 386,000.
Now, even though it might look like Jonathan's turning his hand to a bluff, Victor would sometimes have worse hands and often have worse draws in this spot, so he's pretty much also raising for value against Victor's range.
Raised.
4-bet coming.
5-7-5.
And a cheeky Swedish smirk.
You think he likes his hand?
I'm all in.
All in.
Jonathan shoves.
75,000. Jonathan moves all in.
Yeah. I call.
And Victor calls.
I think Victor's gonna like what he sees. Jonathan can't like this. He's gonna have to dodge more than Tony Blair at a press conference.
Well, Victor has 15 outs twice, and Jonathan Duhamel is the player at risk. He needs those jacks to hold to survive. 7 of hearts on the turn, but a jack or a 7 will see Duhamel reclaim the lead. 4 outs for Jonathan, a 10% chance of survival. Victor's flush holds. So Duhamel exits in 4.
Yeah, man.
Good luck, Victor. Take it down, man. Take it down, man. Thank you. Yeah. Thanks, man. Good luck.
Remember, Gourmel entered this tournament twice, so his profit is slightly reduced.
I don't think this tweet really expresses the gravity of that hand. It needs at least 2 or 3 more use.
Where do I go now?
And we have a new chip leader at the PCA Super High Roller final table.
But who is Isildur?
Well, you talk about a guy with a mystique and some mystery behind him. Victor Isildur Blom is that guy. You know, he's this young kid who just took the world by storm, you know, by just destroying the online cash games.
Ja, jag satte, det var en gång så satte jag in 15 000 svenska och på 3 veckor hade jag $2 miljoner. Sen började jag spela på en ny sajt och var uppe på totalt $11 miljoner.
I admire the way he came out as a total mystery.
Mystery. I still have some problem understanding him when he speaks in English. But for the rest, I mean, he's a very good player, very dangerous player.
Hi Cole. Jag tror de bara tycker att jag gillar att gambla och så.
It's fun to watch this guy because you never know what he's capable of.
Ja, det är mycket adrenalin och jag älskar actionen så.
You folded like 5 hands in a row, I think.
Yeah.
You okay?
I quit bluffing.
You have a fever?
Yeah, I'm quite nervous.
He's a great kid, you know, unassuming, kind of quiet.
I think he seems like a normal, nice guy, and, you know, off the table, I could be friends with him.
How can I ever win a flip against you? Is it even possible?
No, it's not.
His playing style is nothing like his personality, you know. When you see him playing, he's in your face, relentless.
Är det någon som ger bra action så kommer jag alltid ge bra action tillbaka.
He's a kid that gets people excited, and I think that's great for poker.
This is guaranteed to be Isildur's biggest live cash ever. In fact, it's only his 2nd live cash ever.
Joe, it's time to step inside the mind of Galen Hall. We're going to play this next hand from his perspective.
We're going to sweat with Galen, something many of our female viewers are hoping to do one day. Kidding! We don't have any female viewers.
My wife watches. Granted, it's for your jokes, but... Victor raises the button, 55,000. Galen has Queen Jack suited and will 3-bet from the small blind, makes it 125 total.
I like the 3-bet because we've got a fairly strong hand, we're out of position, and we're certainly deep enough.
Victor's going to call. He'll play the flop in position.
The just call means he'll have hands like aces, kings, and queens less often.
What a flop for Galen. King Jack 6 with 2 spades. His 2nd pair and the flush draw. He has the betting lead. He continues for 175,000.
This is a pretty bomb flop for us. We should have no probs getting some more money in on this flop.
Victor calls.
Really hoping for a spade here.
There's the 4 of clubs.
Now we could fire here, but these guys are pretty deep and you don't want to get raised off of it.
Galen has checked.
If you're going to check, it should be with the intent of inducing a bluff from a worse hand, though. There is no check folding here.
275,000.
275,000.
Again, I like just calling here because our hand is strong, but not crazy strong, and we don't want to get raised off of it.
Galen does make the call.
Victor seems a little surprised.
7 of hearts on the river.
If only we had a brick draw, we would have made the nuts.
Galen checks.
575,000.
Victor bets again. Is he trying to buy it? Or do you think he's got the king?
This is a really sick spot. Victor's very likely to value bet any hand better than ours, and I think also fairly likely to check back most hands that we're beating. The only hand worse than ours that he wouldn't bet is probably ace-jack. He'd very likely play any hand queens or better just like this. James, I'm leaning toward fold.
You got a jack?
Duh, get with it, Victor.
There's the smirk again.
Think this kid needs to work on his live tells?
Galen lays it down. Victor did have a king.
Nice lay down us. Okay, and Galen too.
I was throwing I had a jack and a flush draw.
Really?
Yeah, so if you raise flop and I 3-bet, I would get an in for sure.
I was close raising the flop, actually. Really close.
Then you would have all the chips.
Maybe.
Definitely.
Blinds up 15 and 30,000 with a 4K ante. Three-handed action continues. Galen Hall on the button with ace-5 off.
Raise, 65.
Ace at 65,000. King-6 of clubs in the small blind for Dan Shack.
Decent hand, three-handed.
He calls. Victor has 8-3 off. He'll give up the big blind. So heads up to the flop. Which is 9-8-5. Dan Shack checks.
You really have aces?
Nope, just a gut shot draw.
Galen with bottom pair. Checks behind. There's the straight for Dan.
Boom shakalaka.
Checks a second time.
Oh, those must be the nieces Dan's always talking about.
Shack, of course, was the second nut flush draw to go with his straight. Galen now makes a delayed continuation bet of 200,000.
Overbetting. OMG, worst reverse tell ever. Oh man, I just don't know what to do. Gotta wonder if Galen picked up on that.
600.
A check raise to 600,000.
It's the classic, oh man, I just don't know what to do. Raise, move. Classic.
Galen knows what to do. He folds.
That was a real sigh. Hey, maybe you girls want to wait for Dan in here? No? Okay.
How badly do you want to see?
I know what you have. I don't need to see them.
Tell me what I have.
Straight.
Already, and?
The nut straight and a flush draw.
Of course.
Yeah. Super time to overbet, Galen. Super time to overbet. That was good.
I shouldn't show you that, but I'm a nice guy.
You already showed him with that side, De Niro.
Well, we saw Galen lose the chip lead. Now he's just lost a huge chunk to Dan Shack. Cocktail, seat 8. Welcome back to the Bahamas for the conclusion of the final table of the PokerStars.com Caribbean Adventure Super High Roller. At the start of the day, Daniel Negreanu had his sights set on a historic victory, but he left us in 5th, cashing for just over $250,000.
I'm not really all that disappointed. I came in today and I thought I played fine. I didn't really get any cards. Picked up ace-king against Victor Blom. Looked like a good spot, but like when we played online, haven't been able to beat this guy in a coin flip, so oh well. I think I made a good play, though. I would say my pick right now would be, now that he beat me, I'm gonna go with Victor Blom. How can I ever win a flip against you? Is it even possible?
Oh, it's not.
No, it's not. Just ask Jonathan Duhamel, the 2010 World Series champ, busted in 4.
Good luck, Victor. Take it down, man. Take it down.
Thank you.
A three-way battle then ensued, with Galen Hall down on his luck. Dan Shack chipped away at both Galen and Victor Blom to take a slight lead.
No, I don't 4-bet bluff like that. I would have to.
Were you watching Isildur play online?
I would have to learn from you the 4-bet bluff.
Well, the PCA main event is now underway. We're going to bring you extensive coverage of that tournament. There is the small matter of crowning a champion in the Super High Roller event. To get out of the way first, though, blinds now 30-60,000 with a 10K ante. And action on the current chip leader, Dan Shack. He folds the button. Aces for Victor Blom in the small blind.
It's a pretty good hand.
You're a master of understatement, Stapleton. He raises to 150,000. Nines for Galen Hall in the big.
Three-handed, this is a super cooler.
All in.
Cool.
Galen shoves, of course Victor insta-calls.
All in.
Those nines do hit, though, don't they?
Little wishful thinking. We know Victor's been winning his flips, but let's see how he does when he's ahead.
One time in 5, Galen Hall will get there and survive.
I know the Hanson boys here are rooting for Victor.
No 9 on the flop.
Galen with only 2 outs, no backdoors, no nothing. Their boy is only 2 cards away from being heads up for the title.
9% equity for Galen Hall, a 9% chance of survival. That's now down to 5% with one card to come.
These cards are getting further away from a 9.
Galen Hall started the day as chip leader. Now he's on the verge of elimination.
A veritable who's who of poker here for the sweat.
The river is not a 9. Victor's aces hold.
Very nice playing with you. Thank you.
Nice playing with you.
Good luck.
Galen Hall goes out in third, cashing for over 470,000.
I told you, we've been buddies all day.
From the first.
From the first day next to each other. You'll be chip leader?
Yeah, slightly.
I'm happy
No
way.
second
Me too, me
PCA
too.
trophy for Galen. So as the recreational player Dan Schack hoping to add yet another huge score to his impressive record, going up against the Swedish online mystery man, who's on the verge of grabbing his first major live title. Schack has to overturn a deficit of almost 2 million, as the American has just over 3 million in chips, while Victor's playing 5 million. It's time to crown our first champion of the year at the 2012 PCA Super High Roller.
Dan Schack.
Victor Blooms.
That's Blom, Robbie.
Best of luck.
Good luck.
Good luck to both.
You ever played heads up before?
Yeah, but he's never been heads up for a live title before, that's for sure.
All right, Kevin McKay.
If I were Liv, I'd be jealous of these two. What is going on here?
Dan, a very popular player on the circuit. No surprise he's got 2 EPT champions in his camp. So here we go, heads up for the title. Victor Blom in the small blind, on the button, first to speak. Looking down at sevens. Notice, as we're at the business end, the shades have gone on. Victor raises to 120,000.
Maybe those shades will hide some of his live tells.
Pocket eights for Dan Schack.
I like a re-raise here against Victor, unless you're planning to trap.
Well, Dan elects to call.
So trap it is.
Whoops. There's a 7 on the flop.
This board isn't too scary for 2 8s either. Dan might not get off so easy.
He's checked to the razor. And Victor continues for 130,000.
Well, he's not folding. How bad's it going to be for Dan Schack?
He decides to check raise. He's made it 330,000.
I'm not a huge fan of this raise, and not just because he's drawing super thin. Victor's just never going to be calling with a worse than a pair of 8s, and he's never folding better. I think if Dan wanted to get more money, and he should have done it before the flop.
Well, Victor has called. There's now 920,000 in the middle. An ace on the turn. Doesn't look like it's going to slow Dan down. He's reaching for chips, and he's betting 500,000.
This is a pretty odd bet. At this point, Dan's pretty much bluffing.
Victor makes the call.
Victor really doesn't have to do much here. Dan's doing all the work for him.
The pot has ballooned to nearly 2 million. The river is the 3 of diamonds.
For his sake, I hope Dan loses the nerve to fire this last barrel. On the turn, he was pretty much bluffing. Now, he's 100% bluffing.
How much is he going to bet? The answer is 700,000.
700,000.
Cool. Victor calls.
Very easy, just call. Whoops.
And he'll win that pot of 3.3 million with his set of sevens.
Bad timing, Mr. Schack. If I act like I'm drinking this tea, maybe no one will notice I'm chewing through the straw.
Dan Schack was grinding a below-average stack for most of the day, then worked his way into the chip lead, but after busting Galen Hall, Victor Blom's been out in front, and he's in the driving seat right now. Dan in the small, looking down at ace-5 suited. He raises to 155,000. King, Queen for Victor.
Typically, we'd see a 3-bet here.
And Victor just calls, so we go to the flop.
Surprising just call.
6-9-7 rainbow.
Jack's got the best hand with ace high, as well as some draws to a gut shot and backdoor flushes.
Goes check, check. Well, there's the flush draw for Shaq, but Victor takes the lead with top pair.
Action card.
Looks like Victor's gonna lead. He bets 180,000.
Dan's got plenty of equity.
All in.
He shoves.
How much?
Well, that should get the attention of the rail. I think Victor's got way enough chips to make this call without sweating it too much.
If he does call, there is a 66% chance that he will win his first ever live title.
Cool.
He has called.
I got outs.
Dan Shaq drawing to a heart, an ace, or an 8.
Eight.
15 cards that would stop Victor Blom from winning the 2012 PCA Super High Roller.
Eight. That would be the straight draw. 8 ace heart.
Will the Queens hold?
Ace.
They do! It's all over!
Somebody call the Blom squad because this kid is blowing up.
Yeah, you killed me, heads up.
To the Victor go the spoils, $1.25 million.
Nice work, Victor.
Thanks.
Isildur makes his live poker breakthrough. He takes the title here in the Bahamas. Dan Shaq is the runner-up. Galen Hall third, Duhamel fourth, and Daniel Negreanu makes the final table of this event for the second year running.
This year's winner is Isildur Victor Blom.
After battling his way through one of the toughest fields, it was the young Swede who emerged from his Isildur 1 online legend to become a champion of the live game as Victor Blom. 2 days ago, poker heavyweights from across the globe sat down, hoping to turn 100K into 1.25 million. They spar,
I know what you have. I don't need to see him.
fighting for reputation and bragging rights.
Victor's hiding today.
8 stepped into the ring for the final. Kid Poker hoping to go one further than a runner-up. Galen Hall eyeing up more PCA silverware. And a former world champion looking for yet another major title. But all fell at the hands of the mysterious, unstoppable Swede. A long-awaited breakthrough performance in the live arena. Victor Blom has